Elk City. We've got a little family get together for a cousin's birthday. So Grayson and I are cruising out in the van. I ended up taking off tomorrow, so I'll be off until Thursday. So we packed up the van with camping stuff, and I think we'll go camp somewhere. I have no idea. 6-hour drive to New Mexico. It's a 2.5-hour drive to like Palo Duro and Amarillo. Or we can kind of stay in Oklahoma, go south, and do a little loop around Oklahoma, which honestly probably is what we're gonna do. Follow along. I have no idea where we're going. We have no reservations and no plans. We are starting from Elk City, Oklahoma, and we're gonna go spend a couple days in the woods somewhere. Just made the turn off for Quartz Mountain. Alright, we made a reservation and we are staying in the Redbud Loop. It looked pretty nice and it was back against the mountain here. You probably can't see them, but there's a bunch of deer out here. Like that big boy. Got the lanterns lit up and we are gonna go for a walk. We are spooking a bunch of white-tailed deer on our walk here. GoPro doesn't really pick up anything in the dark, so sorry. Alright, it's about 8 o'clock. We just woke up. Grayson slept in pretty late, which is very nice. And now we're up eating our breakfast. We're going on a little morning walk just to explore a little bit more that we couldn't see last night. Just made it down to Swim Beach, so we're gonna hike down and check it out. I'm trying to get to this rock climbing area and it's right in front of us. But I don't quite know where I'm going at all. So I'm currently driving through like a farmer's field service road that I saw on Google Maps that looks like it goes right up to it. I guess we're gonna find out. Alright, that was definitely not the right road. We're in the middle of some farmer's field. Following this little like trail of huts. I have no idea what they're for, but they got this little washed out dirt road connecting them all. And we're just ripping through all these little puddles, trying not to get stuck. We made it up a couple boulders and almost made it to the base of the slab. Alright, we're leaving the Quartz Mountain State Park right now. We're gonna drive down to Altus. It's a little bit out of the way, but we're gonna stop and get some food and maybe a couple other supplies, and then we're gonna head over to the next state park. We're going east, that's all I know, and we'll figure it out when we get there. So I guess it's the Altus Balloon Festival going on today. No idea that was even a thing. Talked to the guy in charge of parking and he let us in for free to go check it out. They were flying a bunch of balloons this morning, but the wind wasn't right, so they grounded them all for the rest of the day. Probably not gonna fly anymore, but they got some cool kites and vendors inside we're gonna go look at. Just past the Mountain Shade campground, and I mean, it looks really clean, but I don't think this is the place for us. It's got a nice big lake, which also looks really clean. I think that's probably the main attraction here, is the big lake. If I was a betting man, I would be putting my money on the Doris campground in the Wichitas for tonight. The lake is really cool. It is dammed up to make the lake. So, you know, back originally when this was really Great Plains, it was not there. I think a more accurate description of this park would be like big lake in the middle of nowhere with a couple hills state park. And I think that'd be a pretty honest description of what's here. And that's just not, I don't like really just camping out on a lake when there's nothing to do around it. All right, now I'm a little confused. I'm driving to the Doris campground, which is about 30 minutes away, and I'm in the middle of this like dirt road for the last 10 minutes or so. And all it is are plains. Like, how is this not the state park instead of that man-made lake? Made the plan to leave the Great Plains State Park. It just wasn't quite our vibe. It just seemed like a big man-made lake with a couple campsites around it. So we decided to leave, and now we're out at the Wichitas. Luckily it wasn't affected by the fire almost at all. Across the street from the campsite there's a little bit of grass burned up, but all the trees are still fine, so it's really lucky. They had a big wildfire that came through a little while ago, so I'm glad that it made it out unscathed. Leave those alone. All right, Grayson and I are going to hike back up on top of the mountain, and we're gonna watch the sunset because you can't really see it from back here, but it's about a 5-minute walk, and then you're at the top of the hill, and then you'll be able to see it over the mountain. Alright, we just made it to the top of this little bald mountain. Really didn't think we were going to be doing that, but Grayson would not have it any other way. So here we are. Kind of cool. You see a bunch of deer walking around beneath us. So it's cool up here. Watch the sunset. Before I left today, I set up our other lantern and set it on the picnic table. Now that it's getting a little darker out, you can just see it right over that rock. Grayson just stepped in a huge puddle, so that was about 2 steps from where we were sitting. He just saw it and just stepped right in, so his foot's all wet. It'll be fun. Anyway, we got like a 1/4 mile walk back. Lanterns leading the way. All right, we are making it down into the woods. I found the cairn that marks the trail, and once we get down into the woods, it's just a little dirt path into the campground. So we made it. It's just before 8 o'clock, Monday morning. We rolled out of bed a little bit late today. It's kind of tough getting out of bed early, especially when it's cold outside and we have the heater cranking inside. Heater kept it, around 70 during the night. I kind of turned it on and off throughout the night. Made it to the top of Mount Scott. I think this is Grayson's first time up here, and it's a pretty good day to come. It's really clear. There's one other dude up here, so we're gonna hang out up here for a little bit and then I don't know, find somewhere else to go to. There's a bison on the side of the road, so we're gonna do a slow open door drive-by. Kill the engine so he doesn't get spooked. All right, Grayson, look at the bison. Look at the bison. Look at the bison. Bison. We are on the side of the road, broken down again. The power steering started fading out, and then I took this last turn. and there was absolutely no power steering. So, a little concerned. I didn't really hear much like whining or anything. So I pulled over, popped at the trunk, and it looks like all of the hydraulic fluid for the power steering poured out. Trying to see where it poured out from, didn't see much. And then I saw the two metal lines going to the front were like rubbing together, and I'm pretty sure it rubbed through on the low pressure side. Once I hit like a gas station, I should be able to fix it. I think I'll be able to slide that hose further down past the part where it was rubbing and then clamp it and move on. But here's what I was talking about. This hose is rubbing on that one and it has leaked all my fluid everywhere. So no power steering, which is quite a bummer. And there's my fix. We're all filled up and ready to see if it'll work this time. Well, that did not work. I pulled out of the gas station and it just started dumping fluid. So it turns out it was the high pressure line rubbing on the motor mount that wore out, and now there's a little pinhole. So that sprayed out all the fluid, and my repair did not work. So that's a bummer. I didn't know that would rub through. I had this little braided line cover on it, but it wore right through that. So luckily, I packed my power steering delete belt, and I just tossed that on there. So now I have everything besides power steering on it. Good to go. Passing over Sardis Lake right now. We got about an hour of driving left before we hit the Winding Stair campground. It's 4 o'clock now, so I'm aiming to be there by 5. That'll give us a little bit of time to hang out and set up camp before it starts getting dark out. All right, we just pulled into Winding Stair Campground. It's about 5 o'clock in the afternoon and we're ready to relax. Unfortunately, Winding Stair Campground closed down for the year on November 1st. It's now November 12th, so we have to move on down the road towards a little stealth spot that we scoped out last time we were here. Van is a mess right now, but we just made it to camp. We're gonna share camp tonight with another van life bro. I'm gonna get the van leveled off and then start setting up and go from there. You eating your food? Good boy. Just woke up. It's about 8 o'clock. Sun is out. It's actually really warm last night. We also had the heater going for most of the night. I shut it off for like an hour or so because it got too hot. Just made it down to Pipe Springs, got some water, and now we're headed back up to the Talamina Drive. Gonna head over to the Winding Stair campground and do a little hike from there. All right.
Maybe like a, was it pretty reasonable to where you were able to get to a shelter like these three, or was there a lot of times where you were like out just in the middle of the AT somewhere?
Now there's, if you wanted to, you could see. This is almost like exactly what most of them look like. Winding Stair Shelter. Start hiking back to the vans.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we're leaving the Winding Stair trailhead, headed home. About a 3-hour drive. Brent is gonna hang out here. He's got a little festival he's going to in the middle of the woods somewhere, which honestly sounded freaking awesome. Thanks for watching this episode of TinCup Outdoors. I hope you enjoyed the trip. It was pretty uneventful besides the power steering line bursting. Other than that, the van did great, and you couldn't ask for better weather, especially out here. The western side of the state was a little bit cold, but now that we're in the Ouachita National Forest, it is perfect. All right, that's it. See you in the next one.